haven't made a video in a while, and I figured it's probably time to make a video. I want to start by saying the books that I've gotten recently and a little bit more about my insights to my book collection, as well as a recent discovery of myself. I bought 3 new books recently, like just 2 weeks ago, and they are, so one is a historical fiction by an author that I really liked when I was a teen. It's about ancient China, not too ancient, the Ming dynasty, so still pretty modern, like 300 years ago, no, maybe 500 over years ago. And it's the time where women were binding their feet so that they become really, really small, like their size. And it talks about the life there. The author primarily focuses around women. I really like this kind of fictional history, and I lent the book to my mother because I really like how it talked about, yes, women were living at that time where there weren't a lot of female, female empowerment opportunities. Yeah, it was still very traditional, like women were so closed off from the rest of the world that they were living in really, really enclosed courtyards in a big house. Anyway, I love that book. I was glued to it. It's been a long time since all I did was just sit down and read, and I was so engrossed in the book. I was crying, I was laughing. It was beautiful. Lent it to my mom, so I don't have it now. Another book that I got is this book on Feizi. So this guy, there are 3 key philosophies that shaped China as we know today. One is Confucianism, one is Taoism, and the third is legalism. Legalism talks a lot about how you structure laws, how you get people to follow laws, how you unify laws, and this is one of the leading philosophies that made Qin Shi Huang, which is the first emperor of China, to unite the whole of China after the Zhou dynasty. So I've been very much digging into Chinese history again. And Feizi, or legalism, is basically a thing that I wanted to learn for a very long time. In fact, it's been 4 years, I think. So I'm very happy to be able to dig into this part of history and research again. I've been doing a lot of Chinese history. The other thing I bought, I just saw it on the shelf, and I figured, why not? It's called The Dictators. So they talk about 64 dictators, and I thought it would be more like, warning and lessons learned. So far, a couple of dictators that I've read, it's more about their life stories and a bit very high level of what they have done. It doesn't really go in depth, but it gives me a very quick summary of the 64 different types of dictators. Of course, there are a lot more, and the way they define dictators it's a bit flexible because you have all the way from the first person that they have is, I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's in ancient Greece. It's Pisistratus, followed by Alexander the Great. It ends with Xi Jinping and Muhammad bin Salam. So it covers quite a good amount of modern history, world history, and so excited to read this. Then I'm just looking at my bookshelf, and I want to say I think I can categorize my books to maybe 4 main categories. The first one is things around world empire, world history, dictators, lessons learned. And I think that's like the top 1 category, and I've been collecting more books in that. The second is on physics and math. The third is probably around economics and systems design. And the fourth I probably put as others, and that will be philosophy, that will be management, that would be Sudoku books, that will be psychology, the mix of other things. In the past, my biggest collection of books were all psychology and neurology related. And I just cleared them out and upgraded the kind of books that I have. So that's nice. I'm just slowly curating and collecting a set of books that I want to read and that I want to learn more of. Of course, I have a lot of books. It's an ebook or audiobook style, but I like physical books as part of curating a collection of my little own personal library, and I can always take them out and reread them. I do reread my books quite often, and that's why I bought them. Otherwise, I would just read the ebook and audiobook. And I like them. I buy them because I want to read them more often, and I think you can learn a lot from that. Okay, so that's a quick update of my very, very recent life. I've been traveling as well, and through this recent travel, I'm very, very grateful for that, because it gave me very much clarity of exactly what I want to do. I would say my personal advice, at least to myself, I don't know about other people, but when in doubt, take a very, very long flight. And I really like that. In the past, when I take very long flights, I work, I focus, and I like that. Now I take long flights to basically clear my mind. So I was going to Georgia, Tbilisi, and I needed to fly to Turkey, and then from Turkey flying to Tbilisi. Of course, I can fly via other ways, but it's just, I like long flights. If I can just fly direct and one long haul, I'm going to do it. And yeah, there were a lot of other different ways, but they were all shitty planes or shitty airlines, and I don't do that. I could fly via Dubai, but I don't like breaking up into, weird sections. So I flew to Turkey and then flew to Tbilisi after. Anyway, the flight to Turkey, it's about 10 to 11 hours. And I really, really appreciated that, because it gave me so much time to be quiet, to be undisturbed, to be alone, really alone. And of course I can be alone at home, and that's why I love being at home so much. It's a different kind of alone. There you're just kept in a cabin, you're just constantly served food and drinks, and you have an entertainment, you have rest. It's just a very quiet, private space, and that's why I love flying long haul and flying alone. Anyway, so what I decided to do is I got my book with me, a physical notebook where I can write, and I got a pen. And I know I really, really wanted to reflect this time, because I was coming towards an end of a 12 months reflection and figuring out what I want to do, because I've not achieved everything I want to achieve, or like a lot, but I've achieved enough of what I wanted to achieve in the past. And I was looking for a new mountain to climb. In the last 12 months, I've been exploring a lot of different options. I've been questioning a lot of my beliefs, a lot of my principles, a lot of my values, and it's one of the reasons that inspired me to start making more videos like this. So I'm updating my personal reflection database. Anyway, the point is, in the last 12 months, I've been doing a lot of reflections, and I think it was just the perfect time to come to the conclusion of where this 12 months had been spent. It's time to reap the rewards by reflecting. So on the flight to Istanbul, and not the biggest fan of Istanbul, but long story short, the lounges are good enough and I like it. So flight to there was very uneventful, very, very nice people, super sweet air stewardess. And all I did was take my pen and take my book and started writing. I write and write and write and write and write. And I've been doing a lot of writing in this 12 months as I was going through experimentation, reflection, testing out, a lot of different stuff. I was writing a lot as well this summer in Japan, in Karakuma, and I just spent a lot of time just writing. It really helps to clear my head and vomit things out. In any case, this time was very, very different. This time, while writing, I got to find myself again. And boy, was that the most wonderful feeling in the world. I got to find myself again, and that is, I got to find that space I wanted to be in. I really, really love the old version of me. The one that is, as people would describe, super alpha, super aggressive, super focused on leadership, on change, and all of that. Not to say that I wasn't that for a while, I was still very much that, but I don't think that level of intensity is what I want. I've also experimented the other end, and the other end is a little bit more chill, relax, travel, make friends, super friendly, super smiley, making friends everywhere I go. And previously it was more or less one without the other. It's a bit binary. But I don't think so. I think I can find that middle ground where I can be both. Because that cheery, friendly, social side of me is always there. In fact, there are phases where I just get energy by being around people. And so that is always there, and it's never going away. The other part is knowing where I want to go, what I want to be, what is the focus. What does the new mountain look like? I've really climbed a peak. And I thought to myself, should I continue climbing, or like climbing a new peak, or should I stop and maybe this is enough? And boy, was that a big debate, which is what the whole 12 months was about. I think if I want to just, be comfortable like that and be content, I can definitely do that. Do I want to do that? I can do that. At one point, I thought I wanted to do that. I tried a little bit of that, and I realized, no, I really hate that. I do not like it's not that I'm not content, I'm not satisfied. I just don't like the idea of a bit more of staying still. And of course, it's very comfortable. It's very comfortable for a period of time where you're just doing nothing, the world continues, and you're just living your own life, not running by anyone's time or anyone's schedule. You are free and you just live your own free life. But I don't think that's what I want for the rest of my life. I mean, I'm still young and I still have a lot ahead of me. That makes sense when, I don't know, I'm 100 years old or I'm like 90 years old. So I decided that was not for me after trying it out, or at least I'm way too young to want to do this. Which then got me to think, okay, what is the other mountain that I want to climb? So I went seeking around, I went looking for it, I went reflecting, went to figure out what is that and what do I want to do, things like that. Tried a lot, experimented a lot, spoke to a lot of different people, still trying out different kind of things, still experimenting different kind of things. But I also realized, you know what? I want to climb the same mountain that I've climbed, but much bigger. I've experienced climbing the mountain already, and I can climb that again, but just a much bigger mountain. Of course, the journey will be harder, and I need to figure out what skills can I learn in climbing the previous mountain that can make climbing the next mountain more effective, efficient, to some degree easier, although it's a more challenging mountain. And so that's what I want to do. I just want to be who I wanted to be before, and the same goals, just much bigger, and now be open to opportunities and options to do that. So that could be, joint ventures, that could be investing in clients that we have, that could be working for some other big organization that could make the change. Doesn't matter. To me, it's no longer an ego or legacy thing of my name as I climb this mountain, this new mountain, not the old mountain. This new mountain is going to look a bit different. The underlying principles are still the same, but the approach is going to be, I'm going to be flexible. I don't know what the world holds. I don't know what tomorrow is going to be. In fact, with the whole advancement of quantum, AI, tokenization, man, the world, it's going to be so different. I don't know if anyone understands that, but I just don't know what the world looks like anymore in the future, because it's just, we are running on a whole complete new tech stack. And that is both really scary, but so exciting. I think that's also why I want to do more things with my hands. Instead of typing, I'm writing down my reflections. Instead of reading ebook and audiobook, which I still read, I have books in my Kindle, I have books on my audiobooks on my phone, and I still listen or read them very, very often. I'm also buying physical books, so I can touch all these physical things. I am getting painting or drawing done. I want to learn Chinese calligraphy. As I'm learning legalism, what I'm doing is actually practicing, like writing them down, rewriting them down on my little notebook. So I get to use my hands again. I get to be part of the physical world again. As the world in the digital sense, actually as the world moves towards a digital world, and as my things are completely digital, as I'm building a whole new digital world, I want to continue being close with this physical world. And so, yeah, I'm really excited and fearful about that. I'm excited because genuinely huge opportunities. I can't even describe how exciting that is. It's also quite fearful because I just don't know how to anticipate the future. But I want to say in the last 5 years, I have learned a lot in how to deal with uncertainty, how to reduce my fear of uncertainties. So all in all, this trip to Tbilisi, beyond all these work stuff, beyond all these opportunities, beyond all these new friends I made, beyond finding myself again in the whole cheerful, friendly way, I get to find myself again. And I think to me that's the most beautiful thing of it all. I'm also really excited to see what the future holds. I'm exploring more things, I'm trying more things. I'm also, other than getting my hands dirty with the physical world, I'm doing some basic coding, I'm experimenting. It gets a bit intimidating sometimes, I'm not going to lie. But it's exciting, it's fun. I am rethinking and I'm seeing the world in a different perspective today. So I think that gives me, I think once you have the basic first principles or foundations in place, which is what I've always been saying my entire life, it's very easy to adapt to the changing society, changing world, changing tech stack. So we're playing a different game this time, and hopefully I get to write some of the rules and I get to participate in this game. Till then, I'll see you next time. Bye.